bad. It's that new, yeah. It's that new. It's that new swag. It's that new swag. It's that new spaz. I say, new water, new ice, new neck piece. Police in the back, they gotta catch me. Only met me one time, she wanna sex me. New life, new bitty, and she sexy. New water, new ice, new neck piece. If the police pulling up, they gotta get me. Only after could I touch her and she let me. New bitty, new bag, new VP. I'm the nigga with the bag and I ain't trapping. I apply the little pressure, ain't match. I can fly it in the mountains like a Latin. I could never fall in love, I learned my lesson. Grandmother still alive, so it's a blessing. If my niggas down bad, I'ma catch 'em. 15 to 1500.
Yes, we back in the building with another podcast, and this is RAWDOPE Podcast, and I'm your host, Hand 5000. Now, the man that we got sitting here across from me, man, when you think about somebody that came from the inner city streets of Baltimore, somebody that got the legendary story in the streets and then a legendary story out the streets, somebody that took a negative, I even knew the man name before I even ever saw the man. You know what I mean? And that was like in a negative way. We seen this man come home and change his life totally from being a family man, a father, from being a community activist. He ran for mayor of the city. He's even got his foot in with the music, and we most known and famous for the Stokey Project. So you know what I mean? We got the man by the way of White Lock, by the way of West Baltimore in the building. We got the OG, the big man in Baltimore, the guy that make things happen. He changed his life in one day, man. The man that told me he was gonna walk me in the building, just keep working. I got Stokey in the building. What's happening?
That was good, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, man, thanks, man. Listen, on this podcast, what we like to do is when we invite people up here, we like people to introduce their self to our audience before we get into the music and other things that you branded it with. A little bit about where you come from, a little bit of your upbringing, then we'll talk about everything that you got going on. And we got some cardinal rules on this podcast. No fuck shit, no fake shit, no foolishness. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the internet. That's the thing. That's how we keep it. That's how we keep it clean.
I don't know if I can do a better intro bio than you done, man. I might be redundant, but I mean, right now I'm just a family man. You know, working harder and smarter, trying to create generational wealth. Like you said, all the foolish shit I'm done with that. You know,
right.
And most of what I do, man, is to encourage and increase the population wealth. You know, trying to teach people and help them understand that my mistakes cost me. These shouldn't cost them. So, I mean, you learn from your mistakes, you move forward. But I mean, I'm gonna see what you see, that guy. You know what I'm saying? You see it, you get it. You know, I don't have no filters. You know, you spoke about the things I've been through, but that's past that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't live off old food, right? You know what I'm saying? So, everything I do today, man, is just for my family.
So I just gotta get straight into it. I don't vote due to my religious beliefs, but you know I definitely was encouraging the voters to vote for you. So what made you grow the balls to run for me?
I mean, honestly, man, you know, and that's a grave injustice to a lot of individuals who can't think. You know, I never ran for mayor to become mayor. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how much they get paid, so. If you apply for a job, you need to know exactly what you get paid.
Right.
The only reason why I got involved because I wanted to change the paradigm and let guys who going through what I went through understand that there's a way out. So I can give you a scenario or metaphor, like if I'm on the street and I'm yelling, you probably won't pay me no mind because you know I ain't talking to you.
Right.
If I get on the roof and yell, people are like, damn, what are you doing up there? Why are you up there yelling? Something must about to happen. So I just use that microphone to really introduce dudes to change. You know, a lot of guys in our city that never made it out and never got the opportunity to change their life because they were so stuck and so committed to doing certain things that it cost them their health, their freedom, and then some of them lost their life. So for me, to be blessed with redemption and a second chance, I just want to show guys at this time in our city what change was like. But it wasn't about becoming no man per se. It was just to show guys, you know, during that time that this would change was like, because a lot of people thought it wasn't possible.
Yeah,
hopefully somebody who wants to be able to go further. I mean, like a lot of guys who got records didn't know they could vote. You know, a lot of people know you got a felony, you can vote. So it was about education more than it was about me trying to find something to get myself into for a career. Because I mean, I do right well for myself, I'm blessed. And I never would exchange my life for someone else. Like, that was just the opportunity for me to use my platform to show God to change their life.
Yeah, so what the experience was like though?
I mean, it was fun. I mean, they respected me not one time that any of the candidates ever get disrespectful or say anything that will cause them to be a non-politician. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get personal with me, it's not about politics. So at the end of the day, I always kept it respectful. Congratulations to Brandon. I mean, I'm happy a black man, you know, who I wish the best. I know it's a tough city and people are always trying to get me to say bad things about him because, like, you know, I'm not a politician, so I don't have too bad words to say about him. I consider him a friend, and I don't know if you feel the same, but he's someone who I would always help, you know, and I would always want to see win, you know, because if he won the city win, you know, he's a black man, you know what I'm saying? Why would I want anything less for him than I want for myself?
Yeah, so what do you think about, you know, our culture as in blacks starting our own political party?
I mean, it depends on leadership, man. A lot of times, you know, we get confused with, you know, the color variety. You know, everybody agrees with the black rationale, but they don't agree with the black movement. You got to turn moments into movements, and if you don't have good leadership, then you're going to disqualify yourself. And for me, I'm a good follower, but I need a good leader. So anything that we introduce that's for the people that makes sense, I'm there. A lot of people do things for the wrong reasons. If the intentions ain't good, then the results ain't gonna be good. 9 out of 10 times. So whatever we do as a culture or as the people, it just gotta make sense. When it makes sense and everybody benefit from it, you know, and we, you know, move in the right direction, and that's what we should do. If not, then we can rethink it because we've been, you know, being told this lie about this American dream, this great American pie for so long. And last time I checked, black folk are still living in poverty, you know, like no other race. And you know, we was living in a pandemic before the pandemic, you know. And I mean, you know, if you don't understand how that works, then you need to do some research on our history.
So what made you start getting into the management and the music?
Wow, it's crazy because my son, man, he really got me into it by accident. You know, I wanted him to be educated and knowledgeable about the business aspect of music. And I went to college for psychology and real estate, but not necessarily about business management. But I can think, you know, and I can comprehend. So when I know he was taking it serious and he was about to change his life, I started doing my research. And I started, you know, understanding how the business of music was different from the art of music. Like, it's different. Music is 85% business and 15% talent. And if you don't know that, then you probably stuck. A lot of guys don't understand, you know, the music paradigm, how it shifts, you know, and how it really has a lot to do with, like you say, talent. You can know whoever you know, but if you don't have talent, it don't matter, you know. So I wanted to help him, and so I got involved with a few guys who I thought had talent, recognized me for my talent, and we did emerge, and you know, I agreed to be their manager, and the rest was pretty much history. Because due to relationships, I was able to pick guys in places where they wouldn't otherwise have been, but they still had a lot of people with their talent. So, and I mean, music's been good to me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
you got that right.
It's been good to me, man. So, like, you know, I applaud, you know, a lot of guys who really chase their dream, but you gotta know your passion from your purpose. You know, music ain't my purpose. This is a passion of mine. My purpose is to get back and help people. So, I love music, but I love helping people. So that's why I suspended my music career temporarily to get involved into the political paradigm, because I wanted to help people. I mean, it wasn't about money for me. It's about just trying to save lives.
And I gotta say, man, when I seen it, you know, we do media, so we always doing research. When I seen you running for mayor, it kind of touched me because I didn't know if you've been in prison before, that you was allowed that opportunity. So it was like going to school. It was like going to school on the same note. You know what I mean? Like, he running, like, you could do that, and we used to always have competition. So if you would have won, would you have been the mayor if you would have won?
I mean, honestly, yeah, of course. I mean, if, you know, but I was praying not to. It may sound like contradictory, but like, I only focus on one demographic of people, the guys on the street. They're the ones who I really wanted to touch. You know, they're the ones that had my heart and soul, because I was one of them before, and I'm one of them guys who know, like, you know, we had 300-something homicides for the last 6 years, and I borrowed and paid for a lot of the funerals of friends of mine, and a lot of them got stuck, and I feel kind of responsible, because sometimes when you do wrong and people copycat or, you know, take after your behavior, you know, you gotta hold yourself responsible. Now, of course, somebody say, well, somebody else would have done it, but I did it. And when you're successful at it, people want to be just like you, do the things you're doing. So, yeah, if I would have won, I probably would have found a way, man. I don't know the way about it because, man, I definitely don't want to be controlled. You know what I'm saying? But I did everything I wanted to do during that election: to touch the people, wake them up, educate them, as you just alluded to, and give people hope. That's all we need is hope. Right now, if you think about the black population, anything we get ourselves involved in, we take over. Baltimore 65–70% black, so it's not a question in my mind that we can have a black mayor, but the type of mayor we need has to be someone who understands both aspects. And right now I'm praying that Brandon connect or associate himself with some guys that are from the streets so they can really help move and navigate forward, because if not, we're in trouble. Like a lot of guys, man, who live in Baltimore, I mean, if you think about why they do what they do, it's about survival, So for me, it's like, using my resources and my relationship to change people, get an opportunity to change themselves, So if I would have won, it's been history in the making, because the only person I know who done that was Mayor Barry, and he was DC, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, he did the most.
Right.
Cap winning. It proves that, it proves that when you amongst the people appreciate you. And that's what voting was about in the earlier days. Hundreds of years ago, they got somebody amongst the people. It wasn't about being political educated. It was about this person is strong enough to carry you in the village. We trust him to make the right decisions for the town. So that's what it was all based on. And I just feel like when people get in office, they make a lot of promises that they know when they come out their tongue that you can't do. Because being in politics, the train going this way, and anybody that think they want to jump the train off the track, they got something for you.
That's politics. So you should expect that from politicians. Myself, maybe other candidate wasn't a politician, but you can see sometimes if you're not a politician and you got bad intentions, you can derail people and move in the wrong direction. Look at Trump. He wasn't a politician. That guy a clown. But look at what he done to the country, right? But my whole thing is that there are checks and balances, man. At the end of the day, like you said, your religion precludes you from doing certain things. My religion allowed me to believe in certain things, and I know God don't miss. So what's for me is for me. I just wanted to be happy, healthy, and successful, and I've done that. And it wasn't about no votes. For me, it was about, again, showing people what change was like. A lot of people don't see it. If you don't believe in things you don't see. A lot of us don't. You know what I'm saying? We got faith in higher power, but that's where you got to practice in religion. But if not, a lot of times I can do something you never seen it done, you probably don't believe it until you see it. So now everybody see that a guy with a felony, went to jail for 12 years, who's a man, not a male, who stood up and can change his life and can do certain things, you can too. And that's what it was all about. It wasn't about, tearing nobody down. Because I don't like that. When they, want a job, that's it is, it's a job. They tear each other down and talk bad about people. And I'm like, that's not an independent thinker for me, And I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't doing no character, assassination, man, just to get no vote. I wasn't doing that. And I'm glad it turned out the way it turned out, because if not, I've been miserable being a man. I don't want to be no man.
I respect that. So how the whole Rock Nation thing came about?
It depends on what part you're talking about. I met my brother Emory in prison,
Shout out to Emory.
We was in the cell together, man. I ain't want no cell buddy, because I had a big case, and I thought everybody was in my cell was going to try to tell on me. So a guy came in there, which was Emory. He had his glasses on. I'm like, man, I don't want no cell buddy. Emory bucked like, man, I'm getting up in here, and I'm like, okay. I respect the fact he was a man, so he came in there, we got to talk, and he told me he had a case out of the Eastern Shore. And at the time, Jay-Z was, he wasn't nowhere near who he was today. And I didn't know I knew who he was, but I didn't know that he was in the Eastern Shore, doing whatever he was doing. But we became brothers, man. We stayed in contact, and then we got out around the same time. And I was doing a documentary project, and he was a part of it. And he seen a guy that was trying to take advantage of me financially by using my money to promote his own objective. And we called me like, man, that ain't cool. You paid for it, X, Y, Z. And I seen how loyal he was at that point, and we haven't disconnected then. We wasn't into music, so with me having Jay that was big brothers and homies, they took me in as well, showed me love, and gave me a platform that I couldn't even imagine of having any other time in life. What they gave me, I couldn't get back. But I appreciate it. I'm humble, and it is what it is. But that's family, man. As much as this business, that's family. So they help me out with my artists. They give me another platform for our distribution. You name it. If I want to be a part of it, that's a lane that I can use. But I don't abuse it. I want to be the next best me. You know what I'm saying? And in doing that, I gotta channel my inner thinking and make sure that I do what makes me happy. And most, if not everything that we've done together was successful. So we will always have a relationship, but business-wise, I mean, like right now, they're into weed, they're into liquor, they're into everything, but if it makes sense, I'm in it, you know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to get over there.
It makes sense, I'm in it. But right now, they're on lockdown, on quarantine. We just talked the other day, and he was telling me how good things are going, so I'm just happy for my friends, man, there's some good guys over there.
So, I gotta ask you this, being a guy, coming from the streets of your upbringing, and by me just being so much of a fan of just Rockefeller Records and Jay-Z, what was the feeling like being at that goddamn brunch? I seen you, man. You throw it on.
Oh no, I'm not. I mean,
like, you throw it on, man. You.
Honestly, man, like Jay is, I mean, most guys will tell you, we pee, and we all pee, we men. But he's just a good guy, man. And for him to really change culture and be so successful and invite me into his personal space was a blessing. This before brunch. Brunch was something that they do for music.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been places where other people can go, and I've been places I never thought I would go. And being around a lot of successful black people, or just people in general, was a blessing. Because to me, it's all about relationships. If you got good relationships, you rich. You can have a lot of money and don't know nobody, and you broke to me because you don't know what you're spending on or who you're spending it with. But with Jay and them, I learned, man, that they really are loyal. It's a code of conduct that they represent that I take after, everywhere I go, and I think that a lot of people can learn from them, but Jay comes from the street too, so we had a lot in common, and my father wasn't his life, my father wasn't in my life, single line, but he made something out of nothing, you know what I'm saying? And most of us from Baltimore who have been in the struggle done the same thing, so he just was another brother from a different town that I can relate to.
Yeah, that's better. So what's like the deal with Skies, man? I know that's one of your artists and one of the most successful artists you manage, right?
Yeah, Skies, man, it's a funny story because, again, Skies, I think he had about 7,000 to 12,000 Instagram followers. But I seen something special with him. At the time, year before, I had took Scola to LA to talk to his label about a deal. And, I think that was Scola the first time being in LA. And they wanted to go shopping over Dale Drive and smoke weed, all that kind of stuff. They didn't want to make new music. So by the time we left LA, the label felt like their work ethics probably wasn't up to par, right? And they passed on us. A year later, they got in contact with me that I was managing Skies. And we were able to skateboard, in one outfit, and the next thing I know, they wanted to sign Skies, and they gave us a nice little phony fake first deal. But, I mean, he turned something to nothing too, man. On our first tour, we did with Lil Uzi, and they gave us $6,000 for like 6 shows, right? And I just wanted to experience. I already knew once he got in, keep your doors open, you know what I'm saying? He changed my life. I mean, not only personally, but financially. We went from making $1,000 a show to $75 a show, And, I mean, he is one of the few guys I know, man, who was so young and everything happened so fast. Normally you got to go through the process, you know what I'm saying? But we never got arrested, nobody slapped nobody, taking no chain, no problems at all. But he a good kid, he's 22 years old, we got an album coming out in another week, we did the video today. Super proud of him, man. Unfortunately, the pandemic slowed us down in terms of we can't tour and do things we love to do, but he's a hell of a performer. All we do think we probably be the Michael Jackson of his genre, he's a hell of a performer. Yeah. Other than him just being an artist, but he's a good person, he got a good heart. And to me, that's why he's so successful, because he's a good person.
So what you think wrong with like Baltimore, by us having so much talent out here? Why is the industry not here yet picking up some of these talents, man? Because I know you listen, and I mean, some of these guys deserve to be top tier right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially his son. We know what happened to School. School was top tier. Right. It was like he was dead. It was like, he was a dial away, and then that happened. It seemed like, and then G-Rock, all the artists before was like always something tragic. But like, what's next? Being as though you got the voice. Like, how do you?
It depends on what you call success, though. So like in music, man, you can have